All right, guys, here we go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second evening of our American Pianist Awards Jazz at Home, our very own house party. I'm Dee Dee Bridgewater, and I'd like to introduce you to tonight's artist. Joining us from Miami is the 2015 awards recipient, that is Sullivan Fortner. Also joining us is the first recipient of the Cole Porter Fellowship, and that award was given in 2001 to Aaron Parks. So, gentlemen, please, please lift our spirits. Take us away. Take us to another place, another time. We all need this in these very difficult days. Enjoy, everybody.
All right. Hey, what's happening, folks?
Howdy, neighbor. Happy.
Hello from our living rooms, our temporary abodes.
Yeah.
You're down in Florida right now, is that right, Sully?
Yeah, I am in Pinecrest, Florida, South Miami. Uh, I am staying at the home of one of my favorite people in the world, Miss Cecile McLaurin Salvant. Thank you to Lana McLaurin Salvant and Mr. Alex Salvant for letting me in their house and letting me play their piano. Yep. You say you're upstate New York.
Yeah, I'm a little bit upstate. I'm at my mom's place. She has a spot up here. We've got a whole family who's up here right now.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah, my sister, her boyfriend, their cat, my wife, our dog, my mom. It's a full house.
Full house.
Yeah.
Well, sounds like fun.
Yeah. Uh, hey, Sully. So, I see you've got a piano in front of you.
Yeah, it's Samick. It's
Samick.
Yeah, I think that's Samick. Yeah. What you got? You have a is that what does that look like? A Yamaha?
It's a Kemble. It's a piano I've never heard of before.
Oh yeah, Kimball's.
Kemble. Yeah, it does the job. I'm in a funny situation right now where I my piano that I actually have at home is not at home because I decided to have it sent into the shop to have some work done. Um,
I
and
remember telling me that last month on the cruise,
yeah,
jazz cruise.
totally.
Yeah.
Still don't have an actual piano. It worked out that I had a place to come up here where I actually can play something.
Okay.
Have how's your tuning?
Not great, but I mean, it's not great, but it works.
So I ordered myself a tuning hammer and some tools. And yesterday I went in on 4 notes to just see like, hey, now is as good a time as ever.
That's true.
But it wasn't as good a time as ever. I got 4 notes in and realized this was a very terrible idea, and I had better retreat and keep the piano out of tune, at least until after tonight.
What were you using? What kind of system were you using to tune it?
I found I did some research online, found a decent. I mean, I don't have like the $300 tuning app that tuners have recommended. I'm not really in the position to get that at the moment, but I was just tuning with some app that I can't remember the name of it, and I got 4 notes. I mean, the whole thing is about 13 cents flat. Sorry, we're getting piano geeky here.
Okay.
But yeah, the whole thing's flat. I tuned like 4 notes up, And then I realized this is going to be a whole lot of work. It took me about 45 minutes to do those 4 notes, and they weren't great.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled them back down, and I'm living with this for the moment.
I feel you. I feel you. It's funny, man. When I was studying at Oberlin, I took a class. It was just one semester, and it was 2 semesters. It was like piano history, and then the second semester we had to we learned how to tune, and we basically remade a Steinway.
Oh
So
wow!
they had like a Steinway A or Steinway, M or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And we basically we cut the strings out. We basically gutted, changed the whole belly of it, changed everything in the inside, and redid the soundboard, painted over it, and then we maintenance the bridge, and then we fixed some. We got into the action and started messing with certain parts of that. And I remember like the system that he taught us. I remember using that system. It's been so long. I don't think I'm a little nervous to try it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely nervous as well.
Mm-hmm. But I remember all he had was you have a pitchfork?
A tuning fork? No, I don't have that here yet.
Yeah, see, all he had was a pitchfork. You just hit the A and then just
do the vibrations, right? You like
use the overtone series to hear like the amount of beats.
Yep. Yeah. That's my man at the Jazz Gallery tunes in a similar way to that, I think.
Oh yeah.
So
mm-hmm.
Hey Sully, would you like to play a song?
You put me on the spot. Okay.
Or
Sure. Let me see. What can I start with? What would be a good one to play?
Beautiful.
Thing is,
Beautiful, man.
yeah, we trying
Come
to
on now.
get used to this thing, this instrument.
Yeah, I hear you. Um, man, I love you playing so much, brother.
Oh man,
Such an inspiration.
gosh,
Um,
bless you, man. Right back at you, baby.
uh, Here,
Yeah, play
with
something.
that in mind, I got something for you.
All right, here we go. Yeah, baby. Love you too, man. Yeah, man. Every time I hear you, man, it really reminds me of the first time I just okay. I've been a fan since I first heard you, right? Um, my freshman year of Oberlin, um, I think I don't know if I told you this, but I was driving in the car with my roommate, Donald Malloy, and his girlfriend, who just so happened to be another mentor of mine, Courtney Bryan, girlfriend at the time. And we were driving. I was driving to a gig that they had together at this club in Cleveland called Zaza's. And it was either Zaza's or it was like the Bop Stomp or some one of those clubs. And we were driving in his red neon. And they were like, Sullivan, I want you to listen to somebody that, that we like, I was like, okay, well, let me check it out. And it was Terrence's record. And the first thing that popped on was, and I was like, uh, and I think it was like the first time I ever heard anything in an odd meter. It just shows you how like out of it I was in comparison to everybody else now. It was my first time hearing anything in like a weird meter. And I just remembered, I was like, it feels odd. It sounds odd, but it doesn't feel odd.
Oh, that's good. That's good news.
Because the melody is so strong. Do be da do be do be do be. And a lot of times when people write songs that are odd, you know, the melody even feels odd.
Right, right.
But for some reason, to me, that tune didn't feel like it was in an odd meter, and
That's good news.
and it's because of how strong the melody is. And every time I hear you play, that sense of melody, your sense and sensibility of melody is so unique to me, and it is so special. Could you talk a little bit about like how you developed that over the years?
And that's first of all, that's much too kind, and that means a lot coming from you, brother. How to talk about melody? It's I'm getting your heart broken a bunch. I think that has a lot to do with it. Just living and dealing with the stuff that comes, and not being afraid to look at those things. Like in life, for me, I've found like those things that those emotions and those places that feel scary to go at times, and you feel like you don't really want to totally go all the way in there, that's just some tricky stuff as a human being, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, there's a story that I once I read this story. It's a book by a guy named Michael Mead, and he tells the story of the lions on the ancient savannah, right? They would hunt. This is like an old folk tale, and the lions on the ancient savannah would hunt in groups, and the way that they would do that, they'd send the oldest, weakest member of their pride. Well, he would be like out somewhere here, and then all of the rest of the strongest lions were hiding in the grass, right? And in between them, here come the antelope walking in between. As they pass, the old lion yells out, like, it's a mighty roar.
Mm-hmm.
Instinctively, the antelope run away from that sound. They run away from the source of their fear, right into the jaws of the lions that are waiting in the grass.
Wow. Okay.
So the way that teaching goes is run towards the roar, like run towards the things that scare you. And only there you find like safe passage through.
Wow.
And so, you know, that's something that left a big impression for me. And yeah, I think just not being afraid to look at those emotions and those places that don't feel great, and actually dig into them, because there is some medicine to be found on the other side, it feels like.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's pretty fitting for all of life, you know.
Right.
Not just music and art, but everything, you know. A lot of the times the things that we fear are the things that we should face.
There you go.
You know. And you know, and on the other side of that comes a whole other dimension of life.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Shoot. I mean, well, I got questions for you. Like your sense of harmony and your sense of just the way you play with density, and I don't know. You're like a sculptor in so many ways to me. The way that you I don't. It's a very physical 3D image of what the piano does.
Hmm.
For me, I've always been like my natural inclination was to sort of think of I was a melodist first, as you said. You know, I happened to play the piano because it was the instrument that was around. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but I always was like, but how do you get all of this pianistic stuff? And I get so much inspiration. I felt like for me, I ran into a little bit of a wall with coming up against just the limitations of purely linear playing, of purely being focused on, you know, just the melody. And me, you and a few others were like real beacons for me for showing me folks working right now who were really able to show another approach. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know if you got
Um,
there.
well, my upbringing, I kind of would say that my upbringing has a lot to do with it.
Hmm.
When I first started, and I don't know if this is a wrong way of looking at it, but when I first started to play, I started playing in church,
Hmm.
right? And I grew up in a church where there was just organ, and there was just the organ. The 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 pianist, let's see, there would be piano too,
Hmm.
but a lot of the sound that was coming from music was generated by an organ.
Yeah.
And then from there we got a drummer when I was about like 10 years old, 9 or 10 years old. So then we had drums, but for the most part it was just the three of us: piano, organ, Hammond organ, and
Hmm.
drums. We didn't have a bass player. We couldn't afford a bass player till much later.
Hmm.
Um, so, and there were a few Sundays where the pianist didn't play. She would play maybe like 3 Sundays out of the month, and then the fourth Sunday was youth choir, and that's when we did a lot of the contemporary stuff. And then the male chorus, and she wasn't a male, so she didn't play with the male chorus, obviously.
Okay.
So that what I'm trying to get at is that I've always felt like from a kid up until now that I've had to cover a lot of territory.
Right.
Like, I had to fill in where the guitar player was playing. I had to fill in where the bass player was playing on the record. I had to play those parts, because those parts would cue the choir while still playing the bass with my feet and still doing, you understand what
Necessity is the mother of invention. There
I'm
you
saying?
go.
But then over the years, then I started playing the piano. When I started playing the piano, I was about 13 when I really started playing the piano.
Hmm.
And a lot of that mentality kind of got preserved. And then I started getting into like classical music and orchestration. And I had a piano teacher. Uh, his name was Phil Markowitz. Yeah, you probably seen him.
Yes, sir.
Phil's all about orchestration.
Mm.
Phil and Jason and all those guys are really all about Jason Moran. They're all about how you perceive the instrument.
Right.
This so the piano's not a piano anymore. It's a big band. It's a string section. It's percussion group. It's a 8 voice choir. It's all of those things.
Yep.
Um, and so that mixed in with my upbringing as a child kind of created like this play upon density,
Yep.
you know. And then from there, I kind of I'm trying to figure out how to kind of scale back a little bit, but in the scaling back, I'm starting to find all of these different ways of playing with density without using as many notes.
Right. Well, but that's what I mean, though. Even when I'm talking about density, I'm not saying that you're playing with density, that it has a constant density. The way you use it so, like, yeah, orchestrationally. And there's the moments where it is just it's not so many notes, but it's the contrast between not so many notes and then what that means when you do rush in with the full orchestra,
Yeah.
or with the whole choir joins, and
Yeah.
what that does, setting them across aside apart from one another.
Apart from one another, yeah. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, well, that's so cool, man. That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's totally invention. I mean, that's just doing those things out of necessity, and then with Cecile, or like any duo setting that I play in with anybody, which is kind of what I've been doing a lot of lately, a lot more than with drums and bass. Unfortunately, I would like to do more with that, but um, with with that comes the idea of being like, okay, you have this vast language of solo piano playing. How do you perceive that given the orchestrational the concept that you're working through?
Right,
You
right,
know,
right.
so you have snare drum and bass drum with a bass and a and a chord thing, and then you have flutes and piccolos up here, and you know what I mean? So you
Totally.
put those ideas even in a solo context or a duo context,
Mm.
and you know one thing leads to another, and here it is. But I don't know.
Man, I loved speaking of playing with drums and bass, hearing you guys on the cruise. First of all, can you believe we were on a cruise ship a couple months ago? That seems
It seems like 100 years ago.
years ago. Yeah, I mean, I I saw somewhere on the internet that this year has been like, it's been like January, February, March,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, but hearing you guys, your band, when you were playing with Tavon and Joe Dyson and my man
Barry.
Barry Barry Stevenson.
Uh-huh.
More music, yeah. We're getting notes from uh, the producers. All right,
All
sure.
right.
I'm
We'll,
not going to just talk to this guy all day, but let's play some
I never see him, man, and we have whenever I'm with him, we have a blast. We just talk and talk and talk.
totally.
Um, but yeah.
You got something, a tune of yours that you might want to play? I don't want to put you in a spot or whatever. But
I'll play this. I'm kind of in like a ballady, eerie mood today. The last few days since the passing of quite a few of our giants and
mm,
our mentors that have had an impact on me, particularly Ellis Marsalis.
oh
I have
man.
a story about him. Maybe I'll tell you later. um, so anyway, this is a song I wrote for a teacher of mine, Clyde Kerr Jr. This is Elegy.
Oh, I love this song.
I
Ooh,
played it on my last album.
this is a beautiful one.
I'll see if I remember it.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah. I love that track on your record as well. I think that's my favorite.
Oh, thank you.
I love that one. What's the name? That Moments Preserved? Is that?
It's preserved.
Yeah. Beautiful album. Um, wow. I'd love to.
It's funny, man. That tune, I was like, that record. I did one of those records where you had to kind of like feel a deadline, and
Right.
I was like, what am I going to play? And that was actually probably like the second or third song I ever wrote in my life. It was just like one of those things was just like, all right, you just dig it up out of these, like, okay, what's this? And I played through it. I was like, all right, let's see what happens.
Oh, it was like a just an old, one of these old tunes you just had sort of sitting around for years.
I never touched it. Never touched it.
There's something about those, man. There is something. It's strange. I definitely have some of those tunes of mine that I've come back to, and I'm like, I wish I had that innocence to write that kind of thing, or just I don't know what it. I don't know if innocence is the word. Just there's a freshness to some of those early tunes, um, and also some a bit naive, but something beautiful in that,
Right. Absolutely.
right?
It's crazy because it's like the moments where you're trying to write something, you
Right.
can't write anything. you know,
Yeah.
and then the moments where you're like, all right, here's just something I just heard like randomly, just wrote it down and left it alone and came back. It's like, okay, that one actually sounds like something. You
Yeah,
know,
right.
always
Yeah.
try too hard is when stuff kind of fails.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, here I've got an idea.
Play one of your tunes, man.
I'll play something. I'll play something that I've been working on for the last I don't know a little while, and ever since we've been here in shutdown, it's kind of the only tune I keep on going back to.
Okay.
You know? It's a it's a weird tune because I I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but there's nothing new about it at all. There's nothing at all new. It in fact it feels like a combination of a bunch of tunes that I've heard in many ways,
Mm-hmm.
but also and so there's part of me which is like, ah, yeah, but those tunes exist, but I just keep on coming back to it. So I'm just trying to not judge it and just here it is anyways. So
Beautiful to me, man. I don't. That doesn't sound. That doesn't sound like anything I've heard.
It's like what's that? Um, it's like how does Single Petal of a Rose go? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm something. Shoot, there's some other. It reminds me a little bit of Goodbye at times. Reminds me a little bit of Lonely Woman. It's
Yeah,
a little hodgepodge of this and that. It's got some Brazilian stuff in like the bridge. Just borrowing from all over the place. Grab a
man.
little bits and bobs.
That's beautiful, man.
I definitely there was there was a tune I once wrote that I was so happy about it. It I was like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever written. I feel very lucky. This this is I'm like, you know what? This is a great song. And then I realized that I had written Jobim's Caminos Cruzados, a tune which already existed. And so just trying to avoid that again.
That reminds me of I have a friend of mine who was he was teaching a class about composition and writing, and he said that he showed us this brand new tune that he had written, and he's just, man, it's literally like one of the greatest pieces you ever heard in your life. It'll turn into a jazz standard. That's how good it is. And he starts playing it. I'm like, yo, that's the shadow of your smile. That's that's not even one of the songs. That's not even one of those tunes that,
Yeah.
that fell under the radar. It's like one of those songs that everybody's recording.
Oh man. That's funny.
Oh boy, it took me out, man. But yeah, man, kill it.
Well, you want to play some more? Let's just play some more music. Let's go back and forth a little bit.
Let's keep it going.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's think about Ellis.
Yeah.
I haven't played this. Let's see. Ellis, my interaction with Ellis was interesting. I met Ellis when I was like 11 years old, and I was auditioning for the gifted and talented in music for like middle school kids. It's like
Right.
little snotty nosed guy, show up in my yellow uniform, to go and play at, what was at the time Noka.
Right.
And he was sitting there with he said, play something for me. So I play, and the man just proceeds to like rip me to shreds. I'm like, to the point where like I'm in tears. I'm crying. It's like, this man hates my guts. I left that classroom literally feeling like, I was like, okay, maybe this piano thing isn't for me. Maybe I should go ahead and just be a doctor, or like, just do something other than music, like go be a monk somewhere. I'm like 11 years old talking like this to my mom. So we flash forward to about maybe a few years later. I'm at New Orleans Center for Creative Arts, and they issue Ellis a stamp. This is the second time I see him, and I'm gonna say a little profanity, but that's how he talks. So if my mom's watching and everybody at church, this is not me talking. This is Ellis Marsalis talking. Okay, so I play Skylark for this man, right? And he stands up, and then after the thing's over, I'm like 14. It's like, oh, great, man. Man, I don't know if you remember me, but I'm Sullivan. He said, of course I remember you, man. He does this, the Marcellus have a way of talking with earnest and passion and a lot of integrity when they talk. So, so he asked me, said, man, do you know the lyrics to that song? And he's smiling.
Yeah.
No, I don't know the lyrics. And that smile all of a sudden gets real tight. Oh. And he says, and this is my quote, learn the fucking lyrics. And he walks off. I think this is the first time I ever heard anybody say the F word. Ever. Oh man. He was serious when it was time to be serious, but he also had a very, very strange sense of humor that I don't think I ever really understood. Because I ended up doing a gig with Winton and the Jazz and Lincoln Center Orchestra a couple years later, and he tells the story about like how after that audition that I cried off of, he calls him. Ellis calls Winton and tells him about me.
Okay.
Meet this kid. You got to help him. You got to do something for him because he's really a talented person. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he had that weird, very weird sense of humor to where you would think that he was putting you down, but right. It was all coming from a very, very loving place.
Like he was just trying to give you some tools and
exactly. That's what he was, man. That's what he was.
Oh man.
And and he kind of prepared me for the rest of my musical education because I had a few teachers that followed him with that same kind of, that kind of way of expressing themselves. Mm-hmm. So anyway, this is, I'm gonna try to play Swinging at the Haven. Let's see.
that piano, that piano just got played probably more than it's got played in a long time. Wow.
Oh Lord.
got,
Yeah.
got some loving.
Trying to
Oh,
figure
that's awesome, man.
Doctor from Mr. E. Dr. E. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough time, man. It really is. We're losing, like, I mean, and feels. I'm trying to prepare my heart for it because I know that I wish that this was all that we're going to be facing, but we know that it's not. We know that it's not. We know this is going to be hard for a while right now.
Man, it's
And
not going to be. It's not going to be pretty, man. And it's funny. I was talking to my dad about it yesterday, and just the amount of because we've been talking a little bit about the situation that's happening in Louisiana currently,
mm,
and it's the nonchalantness. I mean, people down there are still like having crawfish boils and doing second lines and all kinds of stuff like there's nothing going on.
oh,
And I'm saying like, man, just if you can stay home, stay home. If not for you, for other people.
exactly that. Exactly
And what this is teaching us, should teach us many things, that we are our brother's keeper,
that. Mm-hmm.
that we are responsible for each other,
That's right.
and that it's important that we remain conscious and cognizant of the fact that, hey, even if I feel good, I could be a carrier.
Yep. That's exactly.
Then we do not. I mean, to right now, they're saying that it's airborne, and they're saying it only takes like a few little particles. I was watching a video about how when someone sneezes, how long the particles stay in the air, and it could be up to like 30 to 40 minutes, just particles just flying around, and it's so small you can't see it.
Yeah, I think everything that you're saying, and I mean, the thing for me that is a little troubling in our society is that we don't the way that our society seems to be built. We don't treasure our elders.
We really don't.
We sort of they're sort of swept out of the way, out of sight, out of mind, and I think that for those of us who maybe are at a little bit lower risk, although that's debatable, right?
Yeah.
Uh, we keep on finding out more information. There's people plenty, younger than us.
That's right.
Very sick.
And dying, man, and dying. I have a friend of mine who lost his dad to it, man. This stuff is nothing to. I mean, and I'm getting Facebook of people who I went to high school with dying from COVID. You know what I mean? And younger.
Yeah,
It's not cool, man. So man, y'all stay home, man. Just stay home. Stay home, stay home, stay home. And and use this time as a means to just reflect on, I've been thinking a lot about people that I might have done wrong in the past, and people who I might have hurt unknowingly. I want to apologize to anybody that I've hurt or offended in any way, because life is too short, man.
There you go.
And you want to, if I leave this earth, I want to leave with a clear head and a clear heart. You know what I mean? For sure. And
yeah, wise words. Wise words, man.
Life is short, man, and it's no sense in holding any type of grudge. No sense in any of those things. And it's also like Aaron's, like you said, man, it's important that we treasure our elders, man. Anytime that they plan, anytime that they offer that want to spend any type of time with you, and even if they don't, man, seek them out.
Exactly. Even if they don't, just be around. Be around Like,
Yeah, man, and suck up as much as you can, man, because that type of. I was listening to Jazz House Kids yesterday. Norman Simmons was on there talking with Melissa Walker and Dee Dee
mhm,
Bridgewater Field, and that's heavy, man. That's
mhm,
heavy. You know, to have somebody like Norman still here with us,
right.
and with the wealth of knowledge that he has and the experiences that he has is invaluable, man. It's invaluable.
And it's a funny thing about it, how you know, I know, speaking for myself, during periods of younger youth, I suppose I might say, during my earlier days, I there were definitely things that older folks would tell me, advice they would give, and ideas about music, just sort of that maybe I'd be like, oh yeah, that's cool, but I got my own approach.
Yeah,
Figuring out, I'll get to that maybe sometime. It's funny, like, you got to be careful that you don't. It's funny how you grow up and then you're like, oh, okay, no, that's what they were actually talking about. You come back around, and yeah,
yeah,
it's funny,
yeah, man. I
but
go back and I listen to the lessons that I've had with my teachers quite frequently. I listen to my piano lessons more than I listen to recordings of people, because there are a lot of things that I remember them saying in the lessons
yeah,
and that I didn't really understand
right,
until years and years later. You know, I mean, just for Ellis to say learn the lyrics or to
right,
throw a sheet of music and say you didn't know that this song was written like this, or just Barry Harris saying something like, "There's no such thing as playing fast. Fast is when you play fast, you're playing slow. It's the same thing.
right,
Those things you don't really
right.
understand what they're saying until years later. you
Sure.
know, yeah. I
That's
mean,
uh,
anyway,
yeah. So, Lee, you wanted to come in here for a sec?
huh? I'm sorry.
Sorry, my man from the APA here.
What'd you say, Lee?
Yeah, no, thank you. A beautiful night. I thank you so much for sharing your stories, your passion, and of course your music. Um, I think it's really nice for us to be able to come together as a community like this right now online and share something together. I think your discussion is just it's real, and so we really appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh man, thank
Um,
you.
I also wanted to thank Dee Dee Bridgewater, who recorded that promo for us, the Violin Channel, Jazz at Lincoln Center, where you both were supposed to be performing this weekend. Um, you know, we'll get it in after this crisis is over. It'll be good. It'll be good to get back out together.
Yeah, sure.
Um, we have one more tomorrow with Emmett Cohen and Dan Tepfer, but I wonder if you two wouldn't mind playing us maybe one more piece each.
Happy to. Yeah. I'll play something. Let's see. Well, this is a tune. It's the first track that was released from my record that's about to come out, and it's something which is called. I mean, the idea. I wrote it. The world was plenty hard as it was. Things weren't so great a few months ago either, for a long time. And I guess the thing I had in mind with this tune of mine was how easy it is for us to be overwhelmed by the amount of, like, negative news, and the amount of just how, yeah, just the barrage of bad bad news coming at us all the time, and it's easy for the heart to close down,
Hmm.
for you to not really feel completely available to how you're actually feeling. It's when you read, it's like, after how many school shootings, or you know so there's Trayvon Martin, and then then another name. You know, it's like it just the list keeps on growing on. You it's easy for you to become a little numb after a while. Is all that I'm saying. To just try to protect yourself, but I really feel that in order for us to show up and do the work that we need to do to make this planet better for us, we need to show up with our whole hearts here. And yeah, the idea with this song that I'm about to play, it's a song called Solace. The idea is just a small dose of heart opening medicine. It's the basic thing. So hope it does a little something like that.
Man, that's gorgeous, man.
Thanks, Sully.
That's really gorgeous. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I guess you. I don't know what to play after that. If I should play it all, man, that's good.
I always love. You know, the thing that I'm bummed about. I was just so looking forward to playing with you.
I know, man.
I mean, I don't feel like this. The infrastructure is quite ready to handle.
It would have been cool. I'm just worried about delay and stuff. Yeah. No. I guess what will I do? Let's see. I'll just do a quick one. This is a hymn from the church.
Please. Thank you for that. Thank you. Man. Yeah. Real pleasure to spend this time hanging, sharing some notes and thoughts and feelings. And yeah, thank you to everybody at the APA and from Dizzy's and jazz.org for putting this together. It's feels good. Feels good.
Yes, it does. It's good to be with you, Aaron. Man, it's been. Hope we get to, and I owe you a sushi meal.
All right. Whenever we can go out again, I'll take you up on that.
Thank you, APA. Thank you, Jazz at Lincoln Center. Thank you, Violin Channel. Thank you, the Salvant family for letting me play their piano, eat up all their food. Love you, Mama.
All right. Good night, y'all. Thanks for hanging.
Sullivan, Aaron, thank you so much. You stay safe. We'll see you
Hey,
soon.
everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
Bye.
Uh,